to the present. Eternity. Heaven want to be part of the earth. I say heaven. Eternity want to be part of us. But eternity cannot be part of us until we get ready in our change to bring eternity. Matthew chapter 6 verse number 9. Matthew 6:9. Bringing eternity into the present through transformation. Now after this manner, therefore pray ye, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Number 10.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven.
Listen, the will of God cannot be done on earth as it is in heaven until man takes the nature of God through transformation. The greatest blessing on earth is to change your nature. If all things must pass, then your nature must change. If a man is in Christ, he's a new creature, not a modified creature, but a new creature. And then all things will pass, and then eternity will come. All the men that knows that the beginning of transformation in their life, the beginning of the change of the outward things, start from the transformation of the inward man. Don't play with the transformation of the inward man. Heaven will continue to be far until men start looking like God. Let me say again. I say heaven will continue to be far until men start looking like God. Until men start putting on the image of God. In 21, 3 and 4 of the book of Revelation. Can somebody go ahead? When you look like God, your destiny will become the destiny of God. And the only chance we have to look like God is through transformation. We have to relocate heaven. I am here to relocate heaven. I am here to make God to be with us. You see, because I want to share in the destiny of God. I want Lagos to take the nature of heaven by taking the nature of God. If you say you will not die, then you have to look like God, because it is only God that is immortal. In the book of 1 Timothy chapter 6, 15 and 16, I thought somebody should look at it. So if you say I can't die, then you should be a tabernacle of God. You should be God. You should be God. Can you look at 1 Timothy chapter 6, 16? I don't want to read the whole of the verse, the whole of the verses. It says, which in the time past shall show which is the only place but then the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, number is 16, who only has
immortality.
That's what I mean. So if you say you can't die, the only option you have not to die is to look like God. 21, 3 and 4, Revelation. How can everything remain the same when you have changed? Then my primary purpose is to make men billionaires by transforming them. I told them in the morning, okay, in the afternoon, I said, if you look at your 5 years and you are not different from that 5 years, then you are not yet blessed. If you look at your 10 years, I told you that when I go to Galilee one afternoon, we went to a family house to pray. I said to myself, you mean you grew up here? I was asking myself that day. I said, you mean you grew up here? You were born here? So I said to myself, how possible it is? When I came in front of the family compound, I looked at the bushes there. I said, how possible is it that I was born here? said, it's not true. It's not true that I was born here. This is not true. Do you know why I was saying it? Because I couldn't imagine myself growing up in that place. A very strong caterpillar is coming from God's presence. I say a caterpillar. Not only spiritual caterpillar, physical caterpillar is going to visit that village to bring down those ancient trees, and the punishment of those demons shall be very loud before God. I said, what? It's like 10 billion enemies will die in 1 second. I said, you mean I was born here and I grew up here? Here? I said, how possible it is? 21, 3 and 4 of Revelation. And I heard a great voice out of heaven say, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he shall dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them, and be their God. Number 4, and
God shall wipe away all tears from your eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former pains are passed away.
Exodus chapter 7 verse 1. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, see, I have made thee a God to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet.
Now it was transformation. Listen, in case you don't know, it is not possible to give birth to a man as a God. It's not possible. Nobody can be born as God. Everybody that's born on earth is born a human being. God can only be produced by men that have him. Wherever there is greatness, greatness was produced. Now, one of the ways to know great people is that great people knows the opportunity they have. Transformation has given, time has given them to achieve transformation. So Moses, somebody who was born as Moses, after 80 years became a God, not only to Aaron but to Pharaoh, to his enemies. The easiest way to punish your enemy is through your transformation. Did I say it? Did I say it together? Did I say it? I said the easiest way to punish your enemies. You are a woman and you're hearing my voice. You are a woman, you're hearing my voice, and you have 5 children. And you make up your mind that the way to punish your enemies is that those 5 children, all of them should have PhD in straight reading. PhD in law, PhD in engineering, PhD in economics, PhD in political science, PhD in straight reading. When those conglomerates come down to your village, and everybody is speaking grammar, Satan will fear on his own. And one of the ways to know that Satan has come into your house is that your children will refuse to go to school. Anybody that hates light is a friend of Satan. Because it is only ancient spirit and spirit of evil and backwardness that will conspire against light. So one of the ways to know where the house of Satan is that they will never go to school like the Galilee of the ancient times. Why would they kill a Messiah? Since they were in darkness. Just like what some believers do. They go to villages to go and start church. And because they are false justifiers, they be giving the illiterates false hope of going to heaven. False what? You look at somebody who can write his name and you promise him heaven. Heaven, is here a city, a holy city, or a bright city? It is the brightness of heaven that made it holy. Because holiness is a small part of brightness. I say holiness. In one of the work I wrote yesterday, I said that transformation is more important than abstinence. After all, it is transformation that inspired through abstinence. If you are not committing sin because of people, then you are a hypocrite. But if you hate sin because of consequences, then you are transformed. And then that means that even when you are alone, you will know what will happen to you if you do some things. That is true repentance. And it's a product of transformation. But as long as you're doing it when you don't want your pastor to see you, then you've not changed. And that is what abstinence produces. Abstinence produces abundance of hypocrisy. People who are angels in the church and they are drunkards outside. Because they don't know because they are not transformed, they cannot interpret the consequences of certain actions. So why would they stop it? But abstinence, when there is transformation, it inspires, get away from it. Is it a good service? Huh? Is it a good service? In the book of Genesis chapter 32, Jacob was wounded to produce Israel because of the honor of transformation. The person that talked to Joseph, that talked to Jacob in that story, came into the life of Jacob because Jacob was already wounded by transformation. He was already living. His hip was out of joint because he wanted to be Israel. Because that is the only way he can connect to the family of Abraham, to the lineage destiny of Abraham. The only way he can connect is through producing Israel. So he produced Israel. So in 43, he said, Jacob, what did I create? But Israel I formed. That's a transformation. And then heaven became part of it. Then eternity became part of us. Then the man Jesus became God on earth. If we didn't change into God, the will of God can only be done by people who look like God. Let me say it again. I said, if the church refuse to turn from abstinence into transformation, shame will take over them. Because abstinence will not rule the earth. Huh? That is why transformed men are not coming to church now. Have they not left the churches? Huh? Have they not? You don't know what it means for a big man, somebody, an MD of a bank, to come into a church where somebody who didn't go to school is preaching. Don't you know something is called demeanor? Demeanor. There is a courage of the learned. There is a character of the learned. There's an understanding of the learned. And then when a man is learned and his eyes is open, he doesn't find it difficult to see somebody else who is not learned. Because a learned life is a remolded life. I'm shepherd, and I don't know when I see you walking. I don't know whether you have learned walking or you don't know how to walk. There is nobody who God has blessed that doesn't understand where to put his leg when he's walking. Where to put your leg. And then what about if somebody is not learning? Is not learning. If your shop is inside the market, do you care about where you put your leg? Don't you know that that's 7-story building that people follow step to it? Now what the step is doing is to moderate your walking. I said the step is moderating your walking. The step is teaching you how to raise your leg. He will say raise your leg, put it here, and then raise another leg. Because if that step is not there, you will walk the way you like. So step is telling you, I am here to tell you how to walk. Now if you want to see people who don't know how to walk, even when there is step there, they will be still struggling with the way they walk, even when the step is moderating their walk. If you're living in a duplex and you're hearing me, when you go home now, the step in your house will moderate your climbing of that step. You don't have choice. It doesn't give you a choice. That is transformation. The step has measured, the steps in the house have measured the space of your leg. Has measured the space of your leg and make sure that you put your leg in a good place without jamming another step. That is forcing somebody to be learned. Now, people who are learned, they don't put steps for them when they are walking on the main road. But learning has already forged their steps. So if I see you coming and I see you walking, will I not know your future by the way you're putting your legs? My brother who is in all matter, I will not know it in his leg. In that walking, there are certain things honor will not tolerate. It can be managed for some time, but that is not the pattern of honor. Let me say again, I said that is not the pattern. It might be tolerated, but that is not the pattern. So it is not about our environment changing or situation changing. It's about man taking a new nature to bring eternity to the present. Why will I lack something that God have when I'm already looking like God? In Colossians 1:15 he said he is the express image of the invisible God. And then the Bible started putting on him all the honor of God. And that's where I'm stopping in this. Colossians 1:15. The greatest blessing on earth is to be an express image. That you are on earth and your image of the person who is in heaven. Then you have brought heaven to the earth. If you look at that, who is the image of the beautiful? Have I not preached gospel? Huh? You say, excuse me, let me ask you to listen. If you're a pastor and you have this image and you don't have converts and you don't have money and you don't have where to live, it's enough. But don't forget, this image cannot lack all that is in verse 16, in 17, in 18. The image will not lack it. So if we don't have what is in 16, 17, and 18, then we don't have what is in 15. And the beginning of that change is that we should look for this one. Can you look at it? Looking at this one, the focus should not be to stop sin. The focus is that you should keep looking to take a change, and then you will hate sin in your thought because you know the consequences. Something that brings shame to you, why will you lie? Why will you allow it if you don't want shame? Now can you look at that? For by in whom all things were created,
that in heaven,
yes,
on earth, visible and invisible,
yes,
whether there be thrones, dominion, principalities, and powers, all things were created by him and for him.
Number 16. Okay, 17. He is before all things,
and by him all things consist.
Now all things consist to somebody who look like God. I vowed this vow last night, and I'm yesterday, and I'm bringing it now. The only thing I will use my life to do is to be in charge of all these things by putting a nature, by changing into a nature. It doesn't matter how long it took me. It doesn't matter how long it will take me to put it. But God will not forgive me if I think of becoming something else. If I love money more than change, may God not answer my prayer. Don't forget, people don't relate with what you have the way they relate with who you are. When I was coming back from Galilee there, I came into exit hall in Lagos airport there. And then because rain was falling and they were trying to bring out the car to take me. When I was there standing for a while, and a young man, an Igbo boy, he was saying, I had him. He said, why they are not respecting him yet is because look at battery go. No battery go that some things will not happen. No. Look at battery go. He was speaking this in Igbo there. Igbo, that place. When I had it, because look at battery go, pain didn't want me to look at him. I said, what? Pain. If all that boy is looking for is money, then he will never be rich. Money is not stupid. Money goes to the hand of those who are worthy. When you are telling a boy to go and study PhD in economics, before you go into business, he will ignore you and go and get a shop somewhere. And then he will be there struggling from one shop to another shop. A boy had done PhD. He will be there struggling with one point or that. The boy had become a manager, or ED of a company, had become something of a bank. Something that have brightness does not stay in dirty places. In case you don't know, I said something that has light and high quality cannot be found in dirty places. Even ordinary appearance. I'm not talking about whether you wear suit or you wear tie. Having confidence to come out is a product of the eyes of the mind. Now, when some people lack light, they will try to use other things to make up for what? Wherever there is light, you will look for money. You will not look for glory. So if there is scarcity, then we cannot claim brightness. Don't you see? I'm about to take the last heading in 15 minutes. Can you see why I preach? And that is taking advantage of time and season to produce your best self. Now, if I say it now And that's what I'm sharing. Did I not, or am I with any book? I share it from preparation. That means as I'm preaching this, I'm still thinking this. And you want to say that somebody who is already like this is nothing. Do you know how many level of energy that have come out of my mouth since about 12? Taking advantage of time and season to produce your best self. When I am through with this in 15 minutes, I will call the night blessed. I say when I am through with this in 15 minutes, I will call this night blessed. And the angel of record, and those of us who are attending that is my what? Is it my 5th or 6th? It's my 6th. On Monday morning, I woke up there where I was praying. I said, Lord, I have added one day. So I have added one day in my life to this year that is flying like a rocket. So it means I have added one day. The Lord told me,